for those who are keeping tabs of what the for what we have here, is we have Hagelfish Market Zones. You want to know the really funny part of DRF for round 4? No zones
did they start here?
They did not start in zones. This is their first battle against each other in zones. That's the hey, we got to throw an interesting wrinkle to every story we love to tell.
Yes, I thought you were gonna say that they faced each other here, but no, it's quite the opposite.
The exact opposite.
Okay, I am living for this. So the first opportunity for these two teams to feel each other out on Splat zones. Let's take a look at these compositions, Kyo, because we've gotten to see them both play already, and it's nothing too surprising from either side to start.
So Zor, what took me a bit was this is Zor on the Frozen Pro this time, kind of almost taking a page out of the playbook from the Coalition this time. You got that, you got those 10 of missiles available. If you're able to make the spacing count. Kenji has that auto rush this time, but we already know that they've been an excellent rush player. So willing to see how this all plays out. The opening start here is going to be the big thing because that is 2 members already down from M.A.D. No creith, no bow, already taking out a couple members right out of the gate. This is going to, of course, be the early lead to start. Now, how does this all materialize here for M.A.D. to get the next counter push in? That's the big question. They lose Benzo. Kenji already gone to start things off. Agent 8 is now, and the rest of M.A.D. are now moving up forward. Trip specs being used. One of them just hit the wall. No problem. Only 67 points remaining. M.A.D. does lose them all, but they did buy themselves some time to start.
Yeah. It is No Creith No Bow who does dominate this early game. Couple of nice bomb placement there to sort of bait the player out and catch them, off guard, take them out. So now M.A.D. has the opportunity to flip the zone. They do momentarily, but we are now entering a bit of a stalemate here. Both teams really vying for control, and finally M.A.D. is gonna win out, but they don't have the numbers, so the question is, how long can they reasonably sustain this?
That's going to be the ultimate question. But right now, talented, by the way, the backline player for this team, I think was playing a bit of frontline. We're gonna leave those comments later there. We're just gonna pretend that happened. 3 members have already gone down from M.A.D.'s end, as that zip catcher does get 1. Paper is right there, lurking large on that right-hand side of the map, and it is so far no creith no bow. They're gonna be out of these points here soon. 63 points remaining, still counting down. M.A.D. on a delayed 2. And so far, no creith no bow still playing this one a little bit close to the zone, not looking for the lockout quite yet. They're giving themselves some time to strike with their range. DRF 40 points remaining. No creith no bow still ticking down.
Certainly, as now both teams again approaching the zone here. We're gonna run into another stalemate. This zone pretty neutral, but no creith no bow has the slight numbers advantage. As I believe M.A.D. gonna have their 4th member swimming on in here, and I think that might have been a hammer that secured that double. So now it is M.A.D. who suddenly flips the tides back in their favor, and they are gonna have a solid opportunity to control this zone and quickly diminish the lead that no creith no bow has spent the last 3 minutes building up.
So big thing for M.A.D. They just need they have to get some more additional value from their double ultra stand setup. Kenji has other ideas. 1 zip caster collision and auto brush later, and it leads to the full wipeout there. 2+2 wipeout on top of it. So now this is no creith no bow. They are able to put penalty points onto M.A.D.'s end. M.A.D. does have a double stand, which by the way they just used, and they did take out Kenji all the way from distance. That might be huge, but they did lose talent on the other side of the fence. But that might just be enough. That's really all they needed on top of it. They do take out 1 more member out of the picture there. 1:30 left to go on the clock. Zor's eliminated. M.A.D. gets through, and this could be a good time for them to strike here, DRF.
Oh, both of these teams like piranhas right now, just absolutely storming into each other's, backlines and just clashing. I mean, everybody just chomping at the bit here, trying to find picks left and right. We've seen some creative picks here as well. So now this lead down to 14, but it's perfect timing. No creith, no bow, able to at least slap on a 41-point penalty to M.A.D, but M.A.D maintains control. So they're going to be able to start working through this penalty once again. No creith, no bow, just trying to build up their specials. They're going to take their time here. They know they have a little bit of time to work with, but then someone has the hammer, and they don't. Two go down, Keo, make it down a third, but the Dreadringer is still online with their Reef Slider. They're going to have to possibly make a hero play here with it. I think they need to be comfortable giving up this lead, though, and that's exactly what they're going to do. But no, they go two down, make that a third. Keone, I think this one's done. M.A.D comes from behind to win this game in knockout fashion.
This is the thing, if you are at what I was about to know before I handed the mic off to you, DRF, was they needed to get immediate value from their double ultra stamp setup that they had. When we covered them earlier, they had so much value from Dane with the mini, a beer with the wiper, and it didn't look like it was all materializing. They just didn't have a chance to use it to its fullest potential right up until that very moment. And the reason why you saw the zone flips be applied there so quick from No Creith, No Bow, they had a pencil, they had the Dreadringer with that Reef Slider available if they can make it count. They couldn't, and they had that Reef Slider near ready to go. I was about to say you were about to be on top of it too. Wait for the time to use the Reef Slider and then burn it through. But M.A.D gets that important pick, which means there's no chance for No Creith, No Bow to even get the last desperation cap that they really needed. And what an effort from M.A.D to start off game one, and now No Creith, No Bow in a slightly familiar territory from game one. They lose game one, but game one here, now they got to figure out the counterpick that works out well for them. M.A.D just has not lost a step so far.
Yeah, I mean, I think the key thing though is that No Creith, No Bow was in control for the entirety of that game, I feel like. Up until the hammer that shook the market. And that double was the key that managed to finally give M.A.D the opportunity that they had been clamoring for 3.5 minutes. And finally, it gave them that chance to start pressing up. It was the definitive number swings that they needed, and they completely ran away from it. I mean, No Creith, No Bow looked like they might have had a look there, but M.A.D just shut it down before they could even get close to the position that they needed to make a game-saving play.
Chad and everybody else, buckle up. We might be in for a fun one with how back and forth we went. Now, if there's anything that we know, DRF, you know it before. History from round 4 yesterday. The maps that were played was Undertow Rainmaker, Mega Mart TC, and Scorch Gorge Clan Blitz. Keep that in mind if we see those weapons for. So, or the maps, excuse me, that we have seen these for. So, I mean, DRF, if there's anything that M.A.D's been consistent on, is keeping the double ultra stamp steady. So far, what was it? A beer and Dane have been absolutely cooking with those ultra stamps. No Creith, No Bow has been trying to make something work with that. Yep, it's right. Right away. Undertow Rainmaker is gonna be the one in question, and this is intriguing because I have to look at this one. Was that the one that M.A.D won yesterday, if I'm not mistaken?
M.A.D did win this in game 1 yesterday.
What do they have now? They got something. They have something.
They have to have a plan of sorts, because surface level, you look at this and alarm bells are just ringing, like 5-alarm fire here. What? I would love to know, what the thought process is coming into this one, because you just counterpicked into a map mode that you lost to M.A.D on yesterday. So they've already set a precedent that, hey, M.A.D has the upper hand on this particular map mode against you. So there must have been a little bit more to it when they played yesterday, where they might have seen an opportunity like, hey, if we had brought out X, Y, or Z weapon instead, we really could have had them. So this could be something that they just knew that they had something that could flip the tide. I don't know. But it is certainly one of the most intriguing counterpicking decisions that we have seen today.
This, again, they have to have something ready in the wings for this counter pick. That's what we're gonna have to keep an eye on. Vanilla Dreadringer here is gonna be dished out. E-Leader being dished out here by Felix. Zor switching away from the Frozen Pro to the Ultra Stamp. Now you're gonna get to see the Wiper with the Ultra Stamp. It's gonna be a duel between a Beer and Zor for the Wiper so far in terms of these mirrors. So you get a map like this where hey, what if I go Wiper duel against the other in this situation? And so far, on paper, that looks like Kenji got 2 picks from that right-hand side of the map. So that does allow an opening for No Creith to take advantage. There is an overset that picks up paper, but it is not the main Rainmaker holder whatsoever. The checkpoint has been cleared anyway for No Creith Nobo. They're gonna run for the hills. DRF about 40 seconds into this game, and already the first checkpoint cleared for No Creith Nobo.
Yeah, so they definitely, opened this game up with a bang. As Talent, though, hitting a shot, bang, bang, to be able to reset this Rainmaker. So, a great response there to reset, get back control of mid. But No Creith Nobo clearing that checkpoint in the opening 30 seconds. Like we said, there had to have been a plan. There was definitely a reason that they wanted to go this way, and at least the strong opening indicates that this might not be such a bad idea, but they need to secure that this checkpoint is safe before I think I say more.
Yeah, I was gonna say, don't get ahead here, because Zor has other ideas right now, and Zor gets a couple, and Zor is definitely showing up on that Wiper that they needed. The Ultra Stamp does not quite find anybody else with that toss. Barely keeping that checkpoint alive though. That's the thing that No Creith Nobo has going for them right now. And now something that I've noticed so far here, URF, is it's basically now a two-headed monster between with No Creith Nobo dishing out Zor and Kenji, these two together trying to play for the skirmish game. So this is kind of something that we need to keep eyes on in this particular map mode. Agent 8 is just gonna try to go for this early first checkpoint. They're gonna be able to. It's gonna be uncontested. So now both checkpoints cleared right away. No here. So Agent 8 is still trying to look for the pick. He's gonna get the trade onto Zor. It's 2 members that are kind of falling for this one, and I think they may have to let this one go or prevent the pop. The ink back is right there, and the Kenji is right there. Is there from this layer that is able to get a few of the members on top of it. 3 members drop. The lead changes hands. A delayed wipe, but then those points could have picked on a lot more. You have a lot happening on that one. It ends with M.A.D taking the lead back.
Yeah, so they do tack on a few extra points there at the end, but now the question is, did they pay the right price? Because Felix is making a beeline for that ramp on the right side, and that is quickly gonna flip the lead back in No Creith Nobo's favor. So the price was steep for those extra few points from M.A.D, and now they're really feeling the pressure as it is now 26 remaining with just under 2 minutes to play, Kion, but they do have a heck of a lot of specials to build up their response.
Yeah, never underestimate the power of double stamps when you needed it. Never underestimate the power of the ink back and the Booyah Bomb when they also need it on top of it too. The Booyah Bomb is being used to displace a few members from No Creith Nobo. They get 2 members out of the picture. It's one half of the two-headed monster here with Kenji going down. They are dropping the Reseller on top of it too. Now they pick up this Rainmaker here. There are a few members that dropped, and now Dane that picked up this Rainmaker was about to push for the right-hand side of the map. Felix drops the Agent 8 on this S-Blast, but there's no movement quite yet. Kenji's trying to dive deep into this one, but is gonna get traded by the end of it. 1 minute and 10 seconds left to go. Dane is still trying to make some nifty moves, but they lose all of their members on top of it. Zor is still trying to fight. Dane is still holding on to this Rainmaker. The timer has to be at least past the halfway marker right now, but they are dropped. Oh my goodness, DRF, that was kind of an interesting hold there from M.A.D, at least for the Rainmaker. They're gonna need a little bit more right now. 45 seconds left to go on this clock. Two members have gone down. No Creith Nobo is slowly losing members, but they got to make this defense hold at the most critical time. And now DRF, it's pretty much now the last 30 seconds. They got to restart to make it work for.
Yeah, they have to sort of pull a rabbit out of a hat here as the Reef Slider comes in from the heavens to pick off one. They were definitely hoping to find two there. I think they had kind of sensed that there was more people for them to possibly pick off. But now Stamperdane is going to start leading this charge. Final 10 seconds. They do have the numbers advantage, but they have to completely round this corner.
Oh,
The
no!
caster just going offline. But I think that was either the Dread or it was the E-Leader that managed to follow up and get the pick there. And no Creith, no Bow. In spectacular fashion, composes that response to, you know, somehow come back here and win game number 2. I mean, again, this was such a bizarre counterpick decision, but we knew that you kind of picked this for a reason. And It seemed like that they almost had a chip on their shoulder from yesterday, and the only reason that you would counterpick to a map mode that the other team beat you on is if you knew you could take it right back to them. It seemed like that they came into this game wanting to prove something, and I think they certainly did.
To tell the entire story for that particular map, it all came down to what was basically a pick, but onto the wrong member there on paper. And not necessarily wrong, but not the target that they were hoping for to stop the push from M.A.D. It leads to the quick first checkpoint, which does open up a lot of moves down the road. M.A.D. getting the extra points, as you noted. You get the extra points, you get the lead, but did you push too much for it? And the crazy thing is, it's the unconventional right side push that Felix and the group recognized. There was like, all right, well, they may be pushing left. Why don't we go right this time? We can get a quick lead this way because it was 49 points remaining. It's not like, you know, you're down to 20 points or 10 points remaining there as well. They could go for a quick lead change just by pushing right, and the vision was nearly there by using the Reef Slider to then swim for it. No, but it didn't materialize at all. So no Creith, no Bow had the proper response, and they took advantage of the game situation on top of it. This is deja vu for us here, DRF, because we're back in Humpback Pump Track Rainmaker Game 3. This is M.A.D.'s counterpick this time. If there's anything that we have seen, Rainmaker has seems to be the flavor in games 2 and 3, and it's M.A.D.'s turn to see if they can make this one count. I think we shouldn't be surprised though if they keep the Ultra Stamp duo that they have been dishing out each game.
Some really gutsy counterpicking today. I must commend these teams on this, because it takes a lot of guts first and foremost for no Creith, no Bow to counterpick Rainmaker Undertow that they had lost yesterday to M.A.D. So winning that immediately sends a message of like, hey, you beat us, but it was a fluke kind of thing. And then now immediately counterpicking back into the same mode, something that you just typically don't see teams do, and we now are seeing this in back-to-back sets, where we counterpick from one Rainmaker map into Rainmaker Humpback. So again, that is still a really gutsy choice, because most teams, the minute that they lose on a particular mode, they usually try to steer a different direction. So I don't know. The other thing I'm going to point out today as well is that we have not really seen Clam Blitz.
Clam Blitz is a myth.
So I don't know if Clam Blitz suddenly was just low-ink banned, or like, you know, these teams really want to make sure that we get our money's worth on Splat Zones, Rainmaker and Tower, and particularly Rainmaker.
I hate to break down on you, buddy. There are 3 out of 4 weapon changes from M.A.D. Remember when I said that I wouldn't be shocked that they went back to double Ultra Stamp? They decided to hear me and just toss my words out of the gate. It's a beer on the Dynamo this time. The Vanilla Junior from Talent, who is, in all of the games we have seen, has been the backline guy, and then the custom range blaster with the Kraken. This is a very fascinating set of weapon changes that we are seeing so far from M.A.D. And it may work, because it could be the first checkpoint, maybe a whole lot more, because it's the delayed 3 down on top of it, and DRF, they might be setting themselves up for a bigger push.
They certainly have the positioning to do so. plus the Kraken on their side, but the Kraken, I think, went a little bit too deep into the base as 2 members slipped on through and was able to shut down that Rainmaker. The numbers are even, though, between these 2 squads. Everybody's falling left and right. So, M.A.D now having to back up, getting their teammates back into the action here. The Zipcast is going to be diving on into them, but not going to be able to find the value that they were hoping for. 2 members going down on the side of no creith, no bow. So M.A.D with the 3rd pick is going to be able to pick up this Rainmaker before it resets right in the nick of time. So this is going to be additional points on the board for M.A.D, and they get to 33 remaining. It almost seemed like they could have gone just a little bit further, Keon, and I think they might just do that on the back of his hammer.
They might be able to do it on the back of that hammer, and they're able to swim through and at least get a few more points on the board. This is the 2-minute defense that no creith, no bows have to deal with. They get the wipeout, which is basically the saving grace for no creith, no bow. 24 points remaining. The thing I was about to go ooh and ah about was a timely bubble from Talent, by the way, that's able to make this one count. But Zor is chasing Dane, and it is a 3-for-1 trade. 2 members have gone down. Paper's gonna be the one to slam this Rainmaker home. Now we're at a checkpointless game once again on both sides. No specials so far, so both teams are just volleying for any sort of position they can work for. The Reslider is available. I think they're just gonna have to hold on to this one, or at least drop it on top of it. But I mean, DRF, 2 minutes and 50 seconds left to go. No creith, no bow is still got that first checkpoint at the very least there to set themselves for later on if they're able to take advantage. But so far, both teams are just trying to now volley for position, especially now that they realize what their situations are.
And both checkpoints being cleared in those first 2 minutes does set the stage for a relatively high-scoring game. So I have a feeling that neither score from these teams is going to stand as both teams continue to fight for position. Specials coming out now. It's going to be the Kraken that comes out as well. Paper going to try to run the opposite direction with the Rainmaker, but there just was not enough blue paint down on their path to be able to let them run away with this one. So it is now going to be an opportunity for M.A.D as they call out the Zipcaster there, trying to find a hammer as well. It looks like no creith, no bow. Just a little bit scattered right now. Not quite in the position, not quite together. Finally, they're going to back up a little bit, but no Agent 8 finds
Hello.
two, looking for the 3rd. They're waiting for the drop-ins here. Not going to be able to find it as Zor's going to have to somehow survive dropping in there and is able to find one themselves. It is absolute pandemonium, Keon, as neither team is really getting the upper hand in this neutral state.
Yeah, nobody really quite getting the upper hand so far in a point where things can suddenly change on a dime. Zor is throwing the Ultra Slam, doesn't get the main target, that's good, but that might be okay because now everybody's been surrounded here from M.A.D. They aren't going to be able to get enough points on the board. Now we're down to basically the point where you only have a few pushes left if you are no creith, no bow. The priority targets now have to be identified here. Who's been the thorn on your side from M.A.D's end? Is it all the different dynamics and different weapons? Is it Agent 8 who has been delivering on that custom blaster? That is their target, and 2 more have gone down on top of it. But the Rainmaker is dropped. That is gonna buy M.A.D some time to contest back. They are gonna pick up this Rainmaker. Everybody has moved forward, by the way. Zor and everybody else is trying to go for it. Ultra Sim is being tossed. There's not really an opening either. The wipeout is secured. They don't get the lead. It's a 30-24 difference, and DRF M.A.D holds for one last chance, and they are looking possibly for the stall or possibly, if anything, more points on the board.
Yeah, it looked like that they were getting ready to swing it to the left-hand side there. And we saw what happened earlier when you stall over there. So it looks like they're going to go ahead and try to stall this one out in mid. M.A.D now getting behind the back line is able to shut that one down. But the Rainmaker goes down, and this might be one more opportunity. And there goes the blaster as well. So they have to pick up this Rainmaker right now. Are they going to be able to touch it? Yes, they do. They barely get to it. Paper now backing up, running for their lives, trying to get away from the ball, but they squid rolled into it. Oh, they had the right idea. Paper almost coming out with a hero play there. Just squid rolled the wrong direction, and their overtime push is cut short.
That was probably a situation where Paper probably did not want to necessarily pick up the Rainmaker because They had a special ready on the Reef Slider. The situation unfortunately called that somebody had to pick it up to at least keep the push going. Paper had to do the one thing that at least they had to do, you know, to keep the game alive for No Creith, No Bow. It is just cut short when it mattered the most. I thought that was gonna be the stall in the game, but No Creith, No Bow kept every opportunity alive when it mattered at the end. A lot of opportunities for No Creith, No Bow as well. They were winning several fights at the end, but they were also losing some of them equally with via trades, and just cut short by the 6 points remaining. A lot of the weapons were all basically collapsed on them on the last Rainmaker push. It was basically a 3v2 situation from M.A.D that they were able to take advantage of. No Creith, No Bow just did not have enough firepower left to make a comeback possible. And M.A.D, by the way, DRF in chat, they're one game away from punching their ticket to grand finals. They just have to they just have to survive another No Creith, No Bow counterpick. But M.A.D's plan was pretty much solid, but got a little dicey at the end.
Yeah, dicey for sure.
Yeah.
As they were effectively wiped out there. You know, the Dynamos really making a resurgence here with, especially on Humpback Pump Track, and you know, rightfully so. I mean, I thought that actually No Creith, No Bow did a great job of, you know, handling that too. Because the win condition was going to be centered around making sure that the Dynamo was not set up on the elbow, and you know, I think they did a good job of shutting that down, but it was just, you know, towards the end there, a little bit too much chaos to sort of corral it all in and, you know, get back some stable control in the late game situation. So I thought it was quite the valiant effort. They hit most of their win conditions, but they just needed probably one more person to be alive to make it possible.
For the first time in this low wing stream, DRF, Clam Blitz has made an appearance. We were wondering when this very day has showed up, and it's No Creith, No Bow's counter pick here for Clam Blitz Museum de Alfonsino to start this one off. What was the weapons that they have dished out so far? They had Zor on the Wiper. They had what was it? The Pencil, the Dreadringer, and the Octobrush. That's right. So that is their setup that they've dished out here. I think this is probably a weapon composition that works itself out well in Museum de Alfonsino Clam Blitz. For M.A.D, they went away from double Ultra Sam in the previous game, went 3 out of 4 weapon switches basically. So anything basically goes for this group here. The thing that's been consistent so far, DRF, is that Dane has stuck with the Villanilla Mini, and I imagine that will probably be the same here, unless Dane has one last trick up their sleeves to see if they can seal this one home. So this is gonna be a fun counter, to say the least. It's gonna be a game. It's gonna be a battle of whose teamwork and control of the map, especially in a map that has 2 avenues to approach. Most notably, the ramp probably being the best option. How do they make this one all count? I take this one back. Dane had to. The immediate jinx is Dane switching over to the Sorella Tentambrella. Now M.A.D is showing that they don't want Ultra Sams anymore. They're gonna go for range being the decision here, and Kenji is switching over to the Mint Decaf. Now you got effectively double Stamper type weapons on the board, DRF.
I'm just happy we're finally playing Clam Blitz.
Yeah.
As we take off into game number 4, both of these teams diving on into mid, trying to get some early control, but a couple of different fights taking place. 2 little sections of the map here where these clashes are going down, as Stanford Dane, I think, got 3 on the Zuka. A little bit of a stagger each Zuka shot, taking down somebody, but it's somehow somebody still slips through enough to get the jump in and the first score of the game. I don't think we're gonna see any follow-up here unless Sora can actually get up there. No, okay, not gonna happen. So just a quick little jab there with 1 power clam. So it's, again, a very chaotic game between these two, especially as we start out here, Kyo.
That's a free power clam for M.A.D, but that's also a fan anywho. But I think No Creith, No Bow is like, all right, we found that opportunity. Dane, sure, you get the triple for the Zuka. That's not gonna really deter us whatsoever. We can make this one count. Here's the Reef Slider being used by Paper. This is just gonna be Paper quickly beat up their power clam and then retreat for the hills. There with that cooler. So this is now just a power clamp only game to say the least here. But the problem that this does, it gives M.A.D 2 free power clamps if they don't have the follow-up to make it work. And now M.A.D can swiftly, if they're able to get their advantages through, they expect the Kraken to be used for this purpose. See if they can get the lead change on their own with the 2 free clamps that No Creith No Bow gave to them. It's a lot of control around this map. There's one trying to go for the right-hand side. They get snuffed out, and so far, M.A.D is still biding their time. If anything, that power clamp is going to disappear, so the opportunity is going to be gone at the very least. But DRF, decent hope of No Creith No Bow, but there's still a few more punches left.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't hate the idea of, trying to get in a series of quick jabs, one power clamp pushes and giving the other team a couple of power clamps as well, because it's going to force them to have to juggle all the power clamps, which effectively is just, a free location, giveaway. So I actually don't hate the idea, because now you're forcing them to, have to act with these power clamps. And so far it's been working, because M.A.D has not managed to build up a response push quite yet. Because I think a lot of their focus has been on trying to, one, juggle these power clamps, and two, No Creith No Bow I think is playing just a little bit faster. So M.A.D is constantly having to kind of check behind them, which in turn is slowing down their play and forcing them to play a little bit more isolated from the rest of their team.
Quick question for you, DRF. What would M.A.D need to do with the weapons that they have dished out? How do they counter against No Creith No Bow, especially with the way No Creith No Bow is just dishing out power clamp after power clamp?
Well, when you have a tent, a lot of your offense is going to revolve around it. With the, I know they have like the dynamo and such as well, but at the end of the day, they need to find a way to get that tent set up right on the ramp. So they're gonna have to, utilize, that the Dread Ringer and the Blaster in particular to start working some of those ledges. So right now they actually, I think, do have the slight upper hand in mid. This cooler might change that. But now with the numbers advantage, here we go. This is exactly what M.A.D needed here. Now they're going to be able to get that tent set up right on the ramp, and they're going to pop the tent. Here it goes, and this is going to be the way they start to move in. But first they need to outlast that Reef Slider, which they do perfectly. And now here comes the follow-up with the Reef Slider, but I don't think they know that the wrong person is holding the power clamp. Oh, that was a perfect opportunity, but finally they get it back up there. The tent comes back just in time to provide some protection, able to get those 2 power clamps and plus 3 little ones, and now the lead swings back in their favor. 30 seconds to play, Kyo. They pay a hefty price of 3 people for it though, so No Creith No Bow, in order to win this game, needs a power clamp plus 4.
Power clamp plus 4 or 2 power clamps because they got a handful of them on the board. Zor's going to be the one to try to take advantage of it. 2 members have gone down right away, and now they have to play this one a little passively. They need to look for the window of opportunity to strike, but they're losing members left and right. The pencil is going to be huge. Kenji has to be the one to provide some hero efforts here with the ball that's being thrown into the picture. Now everybody's just going to play for a full defensive maneuver here, as no one is able to move quite yet. Paper is still lurking large. 2 members have gone down. This has to be the time for them to strike. A beer is still looking forward. Paper is snuffed out. Paper is snuffed out. The Ultra Stamp is right there, but they're not able to break it through with 3 members that have gone down to the picture. The wipeout is secured, and M.A.D on one last push did what they needed to do and then retreat to a defensive setup that they desperately needed. M.A.D goes to Grand Finals. No Creith No Bow has another chance in lower brackets, but M.A.D is your first team entering Grand Finals out of the winner's side.
Beautiful execution there. It was definitely a little bit iffy in the early game, but M.A.D, they finally did exactly what, I had sort of said there. You kind of hinted early on that they were going to play with a lot of range, and that does make a good opportunity to put up a strong defense. And they did that right there at the very end. A perfect setup from the Dynamo to sit on their spinner and make it so difficult to get up onto their plat. But it makes the offense just a little bit tricky to